Hey guys, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, here back with you guys to do another Talk to the Tape segment where we're going to break down a concept, some plays from last week's game against Minnesota. And what I'm going to do this week too, because I think it's worth looking back, is going to week one against Cleveland, because I think the concept applies there as well. Steelers have 9 sacks through their first 2 games. That's tied for second in the NFL. Jacksonville's first with 11. Through 2 games last year, they had 1, and that was, if I remember correctly, Andy Dalton slid on a scramble drill and for like a 1-yard loss, and Arthur Motes, who dropped in the coverage on the play, tagged him up. So they essentially had 0 sacks through 2 games last season. They finally kind of hit their stride the second half of the year. They finished with 38, a okay enough number, but far from the standard. And part of what happened last year was, Keith Butler felt compelled to blitz more and more to try to create the pressure because the front four wasn't doing it. But there were several reasons why sacks weren't happening, and I think one of the other issues that largely goes unnoticed is rush lane integrity. And whenever you blitz or just in any sort of rush in general, are you leaving big escape lanes for the quarterback? Now, we touched on some of this last weekend. We were talking about man coverage because, as the adage goes, rush and coverage go together. So when your rush is strong, your coverage is going to look good, and vice versa. So today, I wanted to kind of shine a light back on that rush lane integrity because I think it's a huge, absolutely huge reason why the Steelers have 9 sacks. 7 against Cleveland in week 1, then 2 last week against Case Keenum and the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm actually going to start with the Cleveland Browns because I think there's a lot of good plays for us to break down there. I have 5 in total I'm going to talk about today. 3 from Cleveland, 2 from Minnesota, that illustrate the importance of this rush lane integrity. Now, the caveat to this is it is a very boring topic to talk about. When you talk about blitzes and sacks, this is the component of it that gets talked about the least. People don't notice until things go wrong. It's like the foundation of your house. It's boring. It's the concrete, though, that makes everything else stand up and look attractive. So I'll try to, go through this stuff as quickly as possible, but it's really critical. And when it goes wrong, as this happened in the past, especially last season, you get pressure packages to work out well, guys that are able to win their one-on-one matchups, but the whole play falls apart because somebody loses their rush lane integrity, loses their gap, and the quarterback has an escape lane to either extend the play or scramble, pick up yardage, or even just throw the football away. All outcomes that are better than a sack if you're the opposing offense. So I'm going to jump into Cleveland today. We're going to go to Minnesota in a little bit. I want to look at a couple plays from week 1. And again, the caveat is, we're still using Game Pass. It's still buggy as heck. A lot of plays that just don't exist in Game Pass. You try to click on them and they just don't show up. And you get error message or they just does not let you click. So, what are you going to do about that? So if there is any sort of weird bugginess that happens, apologize. We'll kind of work through it on the fly. But to get into the action now, again, we're going to focus mostly on the rush lane integrity, keeping the quarterback in the pocket so he has nowhere to go, and it's going to constrict that pocket and allow the interior guys or the edge rushers to finally get home. Now, we talked about this play last week. We were talking about some of the man coverage concepts, and I spent a couple minutes talking about the rush lane integrity of this play in general, so I won't spend a ton of time on it today, but I think it's one of the best examples of it, of what I'm talking about, and I wanted to go through it again for anyone who missed the video last week or just, wants a refresher. So Steelers running a 5-man rush, not anything crazy with the blitz concept. They're going to bring Vince Williams as the right outside linebacker off the edge. And you get a little bit of pressure at first. Kizer leaves the pocket, arguably too early, as rookie quarterbacks, especially mobile ones like him, want to do. And what I really like here is, Kizer almost has the escape lane, but Vince Williams sees it. He was kind of trying to bull rush, I think that's left tackle Joe Thomas. But Williams sees Kizer's trying to leave the pocket, gets his outside shoulder, outside arm free, and forces Kizer back inside. What does that do? Again, keep the quarterback in the pocket. Let the rest of your rush, the other 4 guys, get home. You see on the backside here, Anthony Chicklo's beating right tackle Sean Coleman. You're getting some other pressure. As the quarterback starts to move the pocket, the offensive linemen are late to react to it. Their vision is not on the football. The pass rusher's vision, of course, is on the football. So they're able to take the appropriate angles to now track down the quarterback. The linemen, again, second to react. They don't want to hold. You're going to now start opening up the pass rushers to get after Kaiser. And that's what happens. You're getting, Chicolo's going to come in free from the backside. Walton's free. Watt's free. Alualu's free. I mean, everyone now that was contained before Kaiser started to shift the pocket is now a free rusher and turns into a sack for Anthony Chicolo. So I'll run this thing back full. It's all made because of Vince Williams. Because if Williams remains inside, if he tries to beat Thomas to the inside, Kaiser's now going to have the rush lane, the escape lane to his left, and now he can extend the play, more than likely just take off and get, even if it's 5 yards, that's a big, I think they lose 7 on this play, so that's a 12-yard swing. It's huge. So love this play from Vince Williams. And when you rush 5, there shouldn't be any escape lanes at all. Rushing 4 is a little bit harder to do, obviously, because you're outnumbered 4 versus 5 blockers at the minimum. But this is a great job. Vince Williams does not get the credit for the sack on the box score, but he really should get the credit for the sack because he created the opportunity for Chicolo to come from the backside, squeeze Kaiser in the pocket, and ultimately make the play. So that's a really, really good example of it that I really wanted to show you guys while I'm going back to week 1. 2 plays later, this is now 3rd and 16. You're going to see similar stuff. The themes and the concepts here are not too complicated. They're not too hard. They're not going to wow you. It's just simple stuff this defense did not do last year, especially the first 8 weeks. And you look at the sack totals from the first 8 weeks of the season, they were about record lows. I want to say through the first 8 weeks they had something like 13 sacks, or whenever before the first Cleveland game where they kind of went off and kind of inflated the totals. They had super low numbers, and part of that was rush lane integrity problems in their blitzes. So again, you're going to get a fire zone. I think it's this Frisco fire zone. Safety pressure from Mike Mitchell. And again, it's keeping the quarterback within the pocket. So anytime that you have the blitz side, this is the blitz side here, obviously where Mitchell's coming. The backside guys, oftentimes you're going to get someone scooping. Usually this defensive end, which happens here because more often than not, the backside linebacker is going to drop into coverage. So if the quarterback tries to throw hot away from the blitz, he's throwing it into somebody dropping into zone coverage and might be able to pick off a slant or a hot route, anything like that. That's kind of the basic tenets of the fire zone defense that LeBeau didn't invent, but certainly I think is considered the father of. So you're going to get this safety pressure, and so it's really huge here for Alualu because actually they run a stunt. Chicolo comes, like I said, most of the time the linebacker's going to drop, but sometimes they don't. And so you're going to get a stunt between Chicolo and Alualu. Now Alualu has backside contain. Chicolo does a nice job of it as well. You're going to get Hayward looping over Watt. You got a lot going on here. So now as Mitchell gets picked up and Kaiser starts to move to his left, you have the rush lane integrity. So now Kaiser's moving right into Cam Hayward. And it's an easy sack for Hayward. So I run the whole thing through. Because if Hayward doesn't work over that stunt with Watt, and he's not able to keep a cup on the pocket, keep a lid on the pocket, then Kaiser's going to be able to scramble, extend the play, and who knows what could happen. If you're not plastering downfield in coverage, or even if you are, it's tough to cover for, 7 to 9 seconds. Usually someone's going to get open regardless of what the personnel is. So this is a less obvious of a one, and I don't like Shazier being on the ground here. I'm not crazy about Shazier in general rushing from the edge. They do it a decent bit. I think it's pretty ineffective. I think Shazier's better inside when he's one-on-one with the running back, hopefully. Because I don't think Shazier has the balance and the bend and the strength to be able to win the edge consistently. I've seen him on the ground a lot, but that's kind of a separate point. But overall, I like what's happening the backside here with a stunt between Chicolo and Alualu. I like Hayward being able to loop over the top, and that creates another sack. There is a play, I didn't have it written down, I might try to find it, of one where they lose contain. I'm going to try to find it actually here. I think I know what play it is, or at least kind of in the area. But I'm going to go to the other one I wanted to talk about. We'll go through it kind of quickly because I think you guys understand the concept by now. Of, again, just that rush lane integrity. So again, we're going to get a similar concept. This is, I think it's this LeBeau Butler's Sam fire zone where you have the nickel corner coming and the inside linebacker coming. Now Shazier's free. It's getting a breakdown We might have talked about this one last week too. I can't remember at this point. But what I really like is, let's say that, Shazier kind of got picked up, or Kaiser saw it early, saw it in time, and starts moving to his left. Hayward, backside contain. So I think that's the key to the play. And while it's not going to be anything you're going to see on the box score, what was happening last year was that the contain guys weren't there, and it was letting the quarterback be able to scramble and leave the pocket. Tom Brady did it last year. So it's not about just mobile quarterbacks that can move with their legs. Any quarterback that can feel the rush quickly enough, and anytime there's a wide open lane, it's going to happen. It happened to the Patriots twice against the Steelers last year in the regular season matchup. On third downs, poor contain principles led to Brady being able to either extend the play and run for a first down, or the other one he hit James White for a 13-yard gain on 3rd and 5 or whatever it was. So again, you're going to get that fire zone, good backside contain. This time, the backside linebacker away from the blitz, drops into coverage. So now Hayward has to have the contain responsibility on the play. Shazier gets in free, ball has to come out. There's nowhere for Kaiser to go, and you're able to get off the field. I think that was a 3rd down play. The one I wanted to look at, this is actually a negative, a breakdown on the Steelers' part, just so we can kind of see the difference and what happens when when things go wrong. It was a 3rd down play. I think this is it here. We're gonna find out together if this is the right play or not. But there was one where they tried to run that stunt between Alulu and Chicolo that I showed. I think was that the second play, and it worked that time. It doesn't work on this example. Yeah, this is the example I'm trying to talk about. Now the good thing, this is 3rd and long. Steelers end up, still forcing a field goal, but they're going to run similar here, where Alulu's supposed to have outside contain, Chicolo stunts to the inside. But what happens here is that they get a little bunched up. Alulu's not able to work over the top of the tackle. Now there's no contain guy here. There's pressure. Hayward's walking the left guard back. You have, I think that's Watt beating Thomas. But now there's an escape lane for DeShone Kizer. Now he's able to take off, use his assets, his legs, and be able to run for an 11-yard gain. So again, you have pressure. Now had Alulu been able to work over the top, contain that, now there's nowhere for Kizer to go. This is going to be a sack. This is going to be Watt coming from the backside. Could be a strip sack. Who knows what's going to happen. But now there's an escape lane for DeShone Kizer. He's able to scramble and try to at least make a play happen. Again, for the most part, inconsequential. Steelers still, forced a field goal here. This was 3rd and long. But that's poor rush lane integrity. And you see what happens when you have those breakdowns. And those are things that can happen, but I think overall the Steelers have been really, really good at it. I want to go to week 2 now and just show a couple quick examples of same idea. I'll show one late, then I'll show one early in the game. Again, all the same idea, but it's stuff that has to be consistent week in and week out. Even when you're facing a guy this week in Mike Glennon, who Mike Tomlin called, statuesque, which is very much accurate. It's still important, because whether you're a mobile guy like Kizer, or if you're an immobile guy, like Tom Brady, if you don't have that integrity, they're going to at least be able to throw the football away or extend the play. Someone's going to get open downfield. You just can't ask your cover guys to cover for, again, like I said, 7 to 9, seconds. Oh. This is the thing with game passes. It used to be that if you didn't click anything, you could just use the hotkeys, and now if you click away for a second, the hotkeys don't work, and it's just a whole mess. But this time it's only a 4-man rush. This is late in the game. This is the final drive. The game's over at this point, but I still like the principles being adhered to. So 4-man rush is tougher, obviously, for a gap integrity standpoint in your pass rush, just because you only have 4 guys to occupy the many gaps there are for the offensive, or for the quarterback to run to. You got 5 blockers on 4 rushers. But the Steelers do a good job again. You get some pressure up the middle, pressure from the edge, wanting to flush Keenum outside the pocket. And similar to Vince Williams in that clip we showed last week, that first play, you now have Chicolo on the right side being able to keep contain, keep that outside arm free, and keep Case Keenum within the pocket. So now, instead of Keenum having the escape lane to his left, having some open grass to work with, you're keeping Keenum to the pocket. Now Hayward's coming from the backside. You're squeezing Keenum. The ball has to come out, and it comes out short, makes the catch. Ball comes out on a fumble. Game over. The result of the play doesn't really matter, but I just like the principle of it, of Chicolo keeping contained. Now you're letting your backside pressure get there, and forcing the ball out quick. It's all about constricting the quarterback, keeping him within the pocket, and letting your pass rushers be able to rally and make a play. So same idea there. Last one I wanted to look at. I think this is in the first quarter. Again, all the same idea, but it's worth looking at time and time again because of how important it is and how much better it's been compared to last season. This is obviously a third down play. Steelers get off the field. Again, a 4-man rush here. You're going to get 2 stunts on each side, a stunt on each side. And the pressure here is coming. You're going to get this TE stunt where Alulu is going to swap responsibility with Bud Dupree, work to the outside. He now has outside contained while Dupree's going to loop inside and try to get pressure up the middle. So it comes a little late, but I like Alulu keeping that outside contained, letting Dupree work inside, get pressure. I like Watt from the backside as well, keeping that contained and keeping the lid on the pocket. There's really no escape lane for the quarterback. So you're getting stunts here. Watt's going to now have contained. Alulu's now going to have contained. Hayward and Dupree are looping inside. And it's really well spaced, really well done. Again, 4-man rush, you're always going to have theoretical gaps. You do have a little bit of space there, but it is Case Keenum. You do have good athletes on the edge, and at least you're not letting the quarterback run to the outside. I think that's kind of the biggest key here. The interior pressure forces the ball out quick. Bad throw, good coverage by Joe Hayden. Steelers get off the field. So this is your really Russian coverage coming together. It's not always about sacks. It's not always about immediate pressure. It's about having good, integrity and gap control that will create pressure when it can't initially get home. This one takes a little bit of time to develop because the tight end's chipping, but Alulu's contained. Watt does the same as well. Eventually lets Dupree be able to come inside, get pressure, force the ball out. So that's really what I want to talk about today. I think it's a really key point to the success of a pass rush. Whether you're running a 4-man rush, whether you're a fire zone team, whether you're 4-3, 3-4, whatever sub-package you run, it does not matter. These are all principles that every good defense, any good pass rushing team has to follow. And the Steelers, I think, are doing a much better job of that this year compared to last. I think maybe that's just guys having more experience. You can pinpoint a couple different reasons, just better coaching and recognition of the problem. The reasons of why it's better don't matter to me as much. It's just the fact that it is better, and the proof is there. 9 sacks this year through 2 games, 1 sack last year through 2 games, and I forget what the number was exactly through 3 and 4 games for the Steelers defense last year, but that number was still super low. I don't think they had one in the Eagles game, so I think it was 1 sack through 3 games. So that number's, the 9 Steelers have this week are probably going to jump up against the Bears, whose offensive line is pretty suspect, and Glennon is, again, kind of a statue. But if they have good rush lane integrity, that number will definitely come up. If they don't, Glenn's going to be able to make some plays that generally he shouldn't. So that's going to be another key coaching point to stick to through the rest of the year. If it goes well, I probably won't talk to you about it again. If it doesn't, we'll probably revisit this topic and say, this is where it went well, and these were the positive results, and this is where it's going poorly, and here are your negative results. It's very predictable. If you're a team with a high sack number, you probably have really good rush and gap integrity. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have shown that through 2 weeks, and thus they're tied second in the NFL in sacks, and hopefully that continues. So let me know your comments and thoughts below, whether it's on YouTube, Steelers Depot, Twitter, however you're watching this or following me. I want to get your input on the idea, any other thoughts you have. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. We'll have a Bears scouting report out on Friday, looking at the offense, defense. Josh Carney, Dan Vasco, and myself will be breaking down the Chicago Bears as the Steelers look to go 3-0. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.